Hi there and welcome back to Module 5, Lesson 4. And in this lesson, I'll introduce you to what I call the focused flipped classroom and how we can make sure to avoid the pressure to do too much. In this lesson, you will learn ways to make sure that you can stay focused in your flipped classroom and not put too much on your students in the name of flipping. I will try to paint the picture for you of myself around year 2 or 3 of teaching, where I really felt the pressure to go, never let up, and hammer that test down my students' throats until they could sing our content. And how there really is no need in this day and age, especially in the flipped classroom, to do all the things in our classrooms. So stay tuned in this lesson and let's get to it. Let's start by talking about homework, shall we? Now, I do not want to tell you what your policy should be on homework in your flipped classroom. You are a professional educator and can read the research on homework for your grade level, but I want to talk about homework in the flipped classroom really quickly. What first got me thinking about homework in the flipped classroom is years ago when a colleague of mine asked me, what if we all flipped our classrooms? She asked me this to really challenge my thinking about the flipped classroom, and that is exactly what it did. For most of my teaching career, I assigned at least 30 minutes of homework every single night. So if every teacher in my building did that, that means that every student, depending on your bell schedule, in our, for instance, 7 bell schedule building, would have approximately 3.5 hours of homework every night. That means they aren't looking up from their schoolwork from about 7 a.m. until about 7:30 p.m. approximately, and then pile on extracurricular activities and I don't know, maybe a family dinner. They aren't getting to bed until 11 p.m. and that leaves them zero downtime or time to just be kids. Going through this conversation in my head was a serious gut check for me years ago in my classroom. It's really been a transition for me, but I've wanted more for my students. I wanted my students to not be students when they left school. I wanted them to be themselves, to be a ball player, to be a sibling, a daughter, a son, or a friend. I felt this desire to optimize my time in the classroom with my students, again, while they were students in my class, so they could focus on being them when they left my class. Now, with that being said, I also very much believed and still believe in the flipped classroom and the almost kinetic energy it harnesses into class time. So what are we to do with this? Pick one thing. That's my advice. Pick one aspect of your classroom, of your flipped classroom, to be homework. And in our case, it's your flipped videos. And only assign that as homework. Ever. Outside of reviewing for a test or studying for a vocab quiz, the only homework your students should be doing outside of your class is watching your flipped videos. This may come as a shock to some of you, but I'm a stickler for this one, and it's not just so that we don't overwhelm students. Yes, avoiding that overwhelm for students is probably the number one reason to kind of pick the one thing. But it's also so that your students know how important those videos are. And you should overtly tell them that throughout the school year. So say this, look guys, I will only ever ask you to watch our videos and study for a vocab quiz or a test as homework in this class. Can you give me that? I would also encourage you to conference with every one of your students during class time at the beginning of the year to chat with them about their schedule. Things like if they have a study hall, or do they have a half hour twice or 3 times a week that can be distraction-free and focus on a video. Work with them on when they can incorporate that time. Maybe they are lucky enough to have unlimited data on their smartphone and can watch your video on the bus ride home, or while they're waiting on a doctor's appointment. Most students won't just figure that out on their own, or maybe they play a varsity sport and can be watching a video through the first half of the JV game. You could also find the students who are struggling with time management even early on and work with them on a planner system or calendar app. Again, the open class time allows you the chance to focus on setting your kids up for success. Talking to them about these aspects and making sure too much going on isn't hindering them is time well spent. Just like when you first started teaching and you over-planned and felt like you could never get through anything as you learn time management as a teacher, you may find that as you start teaching in your fully flipped classroom that you've over-planned things. Please hear me when I say that is okay. What that means is that in the future, you have some options to change things around depending on how students respond and perform. Also know that if you need to eliminate something, and again, please hear me on this too, that is okay. What I mean is that if you need to eliminate one of your focus areas for your class time, or if you need to eliminate an entire project, please don't feel the teacher guilt or like you're failing at this flipped teaching thing. You know why? Because you have worked your way through this module and have built amazing procedures for your classroom to the point that if all you did were your daily classroom procedures, your students would still be successful. In my opinion, the rest is just extension. It's just really driving it home and making sure that individual students are up to pace. So in that light, don't be afraid to look through your unit guides or even your calendar if you have that mostly set already and pare it down a little. You don't have to do every single amazing thing you found on a certain topic. Pinterest can sometimes be overwhelming and even a detriment to your classroom. Keep those activities on your unit guide as ideas for the future, but don't feel the need to do it all, especially in this first year of flipping. And that's what I have for you in Lesson 4 of Module 5. In this lesson, you learned about picking one thing for homework and really why that's important and how to set up your flip videos for a success with that focus. As we wrap up Module 5, it's time to get our hands dirty and get to planning. First, I want you to reflect on homework and make some decisions that will help focus your flipped classroom. But my big goal for you this week is for you to have your entire first unit of class time planned out. Man, that's a big task and a big ask, but you can do this. And remember, next week is another one of our work on the work weeks. So if you get that accomplished, you're on to planning the next unit next week. You are on a roll, so keep it up. So what do we have coming in the next lesson? Well, the next lesson is in our final module. And as I said, next week is one of our work on the work weeks. But the week after that is our final module and the last take action pieces to implement your flipped classroom. I know you are going to love this module because it is totally the place where I normally am in my summer planning come August. I'm in total let's plan for the start of the school year mode, and that's exactly what Module 6 is all about, so I think it's great timing. Lastly, congratulations on finishing yet another module of the Flipped Classroom Formula. Keep up your amazing work, and we'll see you in the next module.